Okay, I'm recording now. And yes, as I mentioned before, we are in the middle of nowhere. We have levels, at least we have this reference. So we are at level 0, but most likely this won't be a flat uh, lot. If it's a flat, nothing's flat in nature. Okay, so we have a, even if it's not a steep slope, but there will be different levels. So we don't have flat areas. It's almost impossible. So how can we work with contour lines? Well, the first thing we need to understand is that we cannot use contour. Well, maybe we can, but we have this site. Okay, so you see that by default we have levels. We have levels, but we have this site in this project browser. If we are working with contour lines, we have to use this site view. And then we can either insert something and then we can trace it, or we can create our own topography. First, I'm going to create my own topography, and then we will insert something, and we will create contour lines, tracing an existing drawing before. Okay. Okay, so to create contour lines, we have to use this massing and site. Okay, we are in site view, and we have to use this massing and site. And here we have different options. Probably we will use some of these options sometime, but today we're going to use this topo surface. And that defines a topographical surface in a site plan or a 3D view. Okay, so we click here, and the first thing we have to check is the elevation. So here the elevation is 0 feet, 0 inches. So that means depending on where our first level is, I think we started on level 0. So whatever we draw now is at this level. So imagine that I'm drawing these points. Okay, so all these points are at level 0. If I want to go up, I have to change the elevation. So imagine that I go up 1 foot. So change the elevation to 1 foot. And then I start drawing. And all these points are 1 foot above this one. If I want to go up again, I can use 2 feet. And I can create, the closer the lines, the steeper the slope. Okay, so this is something that we have to understand. And then I can go 3. Do I have to go one by one? No, I can type here 10. And now you see that we have more contour lines. Because by default, if you're using imperial units, the distance between 2 lines will be 1 foot. Okay, so if we are creating this. Okay, so we click finish, and now on the 3D view, we see what we have done. Okay, so we started here. This is the lowest level, you see, and then we are going up so that our house, it's like in a basin or in a valley. So that would be for housing. That's terrible because if it rains, all this water is going towards the house. Okay, so usually if we can decide, we place houses at the top of a slope so that if it rains, the water goes out, because in this case, the water is going towards the house. But anyway, sometimes we can decide, and that's it. As in everything in Revit is editable, okay, so we can edit this, we can edit surface. And if we can edit surface, we can move those lines. Okay, so by moving those points, we extend the contour lines. And then we can move any point. Okay. If you click on this point, you see the elevation. So this is the first line we made, and the elevation is 0. If this is the last line, it should be 10. Yeah, so the elevation is 10. Can I change the elevation of this point? Yes, I can make it 15. And if I make it 15, everything changes here. And I can make this 20. And now the contour lines are changing. Okay, so as you can see, this is very convenient because I can start doing this and I can edit all these elements and I can change easily the surface I have created. I click finish and I save the changes. Okay, so everything is editable here. So I can select this, I can go to the site plan, I can edit surface, and I can yeah, I can edit all these elements and I can change the elevation. Now I want to go downwards. So I'm going to go negative 10. And now I go downwards. What have I done on the 3D view? Okay, so here I was 20 up and now I'm 10 down. So that's why we have these contour lines here. Okay. If I want to limit my drawing, I recommend you use this section box. Okay, if we have this section box, and if you click on this section box and then you drag this section box in this direction, we are limiting, and now we are creating like a solid element. So it's not something, it's not a plane. We are just here. We have the reference level of this section box, and you see that we have this thickness. And here we can see the slope, the actual, so it goes downwards and then it goes upwards here. And in this side, we have like a valley here and it goes downwards and then upwards. So if we want to see what we are doing, I think using a section box is better because if we don't use the section box, imagine that we don't have it, it's more difficult getting to understand whether we have it's going downwards or upwards. But if we use the section box, first, it's nicer because we limit our site with a rectangle and it looks nicer. And second, it's easier if we have sections, it's easier to understand the slope of this site. Okay. So you can create a very large area and then you can limit this area with the section box. If you want to work with the section box, because if you click here, you see that the section box disappear and then you expand the soil again. And then when you create the section box again, you have to start defining the section box. If you want to hide the section box, you have to select it, right click, and you can hide in view elements. Okay, so you have hidden the section box, but the limit of this section box is still there. Okay, so remember, if you click here, the section box disappear. I'm going to do it again. And if you click again, the section box, well, now it's not visible because to make it visible again, you have to click this tiny light bulb, reveal hidden elements. And now you have to select the section box, right click, and unhide in view. and then you click on the light bulb again, and now you see this. But you know what I mean? If you click here, every time you create the section box again, you have to start limiting this. Okay, but if you click on the section box and then you hide it, if you unhide the section box and click on the light bulb, so the section box it's in the same place. Okay, so keep that in mind, because it's not the same. Clicking here is not the same as hiding the section box. Okay. Okay. We can anytime we can edit the surface, and we can move those points. We can change the elevation of those points, and we can create hills or whatever. We can always place points. Okay, if you want to make this, but look at this, we are placing a point at elevation 10. So if we place a point here, we are creating a slope. You see? I'm going to do it again. So if you place a point and the elevation is something crazy, 100, and you place the point here, okay, so we have created, well, second one, finish. So basically we can do anything. We can edit this, we can edit surface, and if we place a point here at 0, okay, we are modifying the contour lines. So first, we can edit anything, and we can do crazy things with contour lines. I think it works better when you use consistent or realistic colors. Consistent is better. You can always change, because by default we have this brownish color, but you can change it. You can always select this, override graphics, and here you can select the surface pattern, and now it's by material, but we can use a color. Only this has changed. Let's try the background. It doesn't change. Probably because we have to change the material. Let's use grass. We don't have grass. Okay. So apparently you have to change the material. I have used aluminum, but here you can change the material, and that depends on the kind of materials that we have. We don't have anything like grass, or do we have earth? We do have earth, but I think that the earth is this color. We can always change this. Okay, so if you change that material, the color of that material here, Now it's green. Okay, I'll do it again. You have to select this. Here you can change the material, and as you can see, we have default materials here. You can have more, but this is the default materials that we have, and this is the color that you see on the screen, unless you use the render appearance. And so by now, I think by using this color, that's fine. Yeah, I prefer this one because the default dark brown is like too aggressive. So this looks better. This greenish color, it's always something more pleasant to the view that the dark brown color that we have by default in for the soil. Okay. Okay. What can we do with this? First, we can control the contour lines. Then here we have different things. We have side components. Well, be careful with that because as you can see here by default, we have a lot of trees. We have Japanese cherry or uh, blueberry elder. Okay. So this model is not quite accurate, but if you are rendering it, if you create a render of this model on view render, let's create a draft. Okay, so this is a draft, so the quality is not good enough, but you can see that this is an actual tree, a cherry tree, and yeah, with flowers, so beautiful. But as we can see, the render appearance is this, it's almost black. It doesn't have anything to do with this. This is because when we are selecting this and we select the material, there are two things. We have the color that we can see in this screen visualization, or we can use the render appearance. And the render, by default, with this earth, we have this. Can we change that? Yeah, but now we have to click here and we have this texture. We can change the texture. I think it's too advanced so far. But rendering the earth, if we are using the rendering appearance, it doesn't look good, okay? So be careful because we have to change this texture, or at least we can increase the brightness. But I don't think. Okay, so we will use renderings, or probably we will add another material that it's not earth, because if you are using, yeah, the problem is that we don't have any grass or any, yeah, we don't have exterior materials anyway. We are not using rendering so far, but if you are adding this kind of trees, you will have a nice render view. Don't do that, especially at the beginning of the design process, because this tree has a lot of information. So it has a lot of polygons, or it has a lot of entities. So when you are adding a lot of trees, your file will slow down. And so if you add trees and all that stuff, make sure that it's at the end of the process. So you are not working with walls and windows and all that stuff at the same time that you are working with the trees, because it will slow down a lot. I don't recommend you do this. Okay, I want to I don't want to use the render appearance, and I want to use this greenish color. Okay. So we can select this, we can edit the surface, and we can add more points to create more well, other contour lines. What else can we do? We can select this, and no, I don't want to edit the surface. I want to go to masking and site. So here you see that we have building paths, and we have split surface, and then we have subregions. Okay, so what these subregions are interesting. So let's click here, and let's create a rectangle. Okay, so we're going to create a rectangle like this. We click OK, and now we have created on the 3D view, we have created this rectangle, but it's adapted to the contour lines. So we can select this, and here we can select a different material. Okay, so that goes well, especially when we're working with landscape. We can use different materials. We can have aggregates, or we can have stone, or we can have grass, or dirt. This is the best way to do it. So I'll do it again. If you use the side view, then you click a subregion, and you can do this, or we will try something. I think I didn't show you how to work with splines. Okay, so let's select spline here. So a spline is a line that, as you are working with it, you can create like a curved. So it's quite cool. So imagine that you're done with this, and now we have this curvy path. Then we can go with an offset. Let's make a 10 feet, a 10-foot offset in this direction. Okay, so this can be like a road. But if we're working with this region, we have to make sure that this is closed. Here and there. And when the line is closed, we can click OK. And now we have this path. Let's make the section box longer. Okay, so now we have this path, and now we can change the material. We can use, let's say, asphalt. We don't have asphalt. Come on. Concrete. Okay. So now we can create like a road, and it's quite convenient because it's adapted to the contour lines. Okay, so I like this. I like this option of sub-region, especially for landscape. It works well because once we have the contour lines, then we can start tracing things. And I like the, yes, I'll show you the difference between the spline and this line. When you're working with this line, the angles are not smooth angles. Okay, the effect is the same. We have to create a closed line, and we have to click OK. And we do have this, but the spline looks better. If we want to do something like nature like that, if we need the polygons, then we can use the line. But well, it's up to you. What else? Okay, I'm going to edit the surface and I'm going to do something real crazy, like moving this 10 feet downwards, all these points here, -10. Okay, so now as you can see, the house is uh, is floating because this element is 10 feet downwards. If we use the section, well, we click OK. If we use the section box, now we can understand what's going on. Okay, so if we're doing this, somehow we have to fill this void. Okay, so the house cannot be here floating. So we have to fill this void. How can we do that? If we are inside, we can use massing inside, another option, this building pad. Okay, so the building pad, as you can see, it's you can create a platform to place the building. So I'm going to show you. Uh, and I'm going to show you this option. Here you can pick lines. So you can create a boundary line out of, because we want to select the wall lines of the house. So this one, lines, closed loops. It's important that they are in closed loops. So we have to make sure that we trim this and let's see what happens. Okay, so cannot have overlapping lines. Okay, I'm going to, yeah, so there are some overlapping lines here and here as well. Yep. So now let's trim and trim here. There you go. The highlight lines must be in closed loops. Okay. So here we have to add another trim. Oh, you see? So we have this line and that line here. And if it has to be a closed loop, okay, let's get rid of this. And trim. And now let's get rid of this one and trim. Okay, so make sure that they're closed loops and they're all the lines are continuous, and then we can create that. And what have we done? Yep, as you can see, we have created this platform. So now the house is not floating. That's it. So if you know this, you know everything you need to know about topography. There's another, so we have the building pad, we have the sub-region, and we have the split surfaces or the split surface or merge surfaces. If we split surface, it can be useful if we want to create different things. Okay, so let's use this. Let's see what happens. So if we split surface, and if we select this with specified boundary, okay, we need a boundary. So what can be the boundary? So let's go to the site plan. And I don't know, imagine that we have a border line here. So the line, this at this side of this line is ours. and this topography or this soil at the other side of the line is not ours. So we can always work, let's work with a reference plane. That's very useful. I showed you how to work with the reference planes last week. But imagine that we have a reference plane here. Okay, so this is the limit between my property and my neighbor's property. That's useful because I can name this. This is property line. And now I can go to massing inside and I can split surface. So this is the surface I want to split, and this is the line, or this is the reference plane I want to use. Now click OK. And now they are two different surfaces, but adapted again to this. And that's useful because I want, okay, this is not mine. Okay, so I'm going to use a different material for this because this is not mine. Can you do the same with the subregion? Well, the subregion, it's something that is within the the element that you are creating. The split surface is that you want a line separating two surfaces. So it's not a region, it's within the area that you're analyzing. It's just splitting the surface. Yeah. Okay. I told you that we can do this trying to copy a contour line. So we can always select the contour lines, and let's try to do something that it's not too complicated. Okay, this one. I will copy this image. I'm going to use something really simple. I'm going to use Paint. Everybody has Paint either in the computer. So I'm pasting it. I am trimming and save as. I'm going to create contour lines. I'm going to save a JPG. Why not? I'm going to use Photoshop, because if I want to insert a picture, I need to save the picture first, and then I need to insert this on this side plan. I don't know why Paint is not allowing me to save it. Create a new one. This. Save as. Uh, no, it's on King. Okay. Now I don't want the section box anymore, and I'm going to use the site plan, and I'm going to insert an image. And this image is on contour lines, this one. Okay. So that's a different way to work with Revit. We can trace this. These are the elevations. We have 1330, so 1330. So this is 1320. This is 1310, and we go up to 1210. So basically each line is 10 units. Okay, so we can say that each line is 10 feet, and apparently it's going up. So this is like a hill, and this is the top of a hill. This is at 1330, and then it goes down up to this. So if we have this, we have to be careful because what do we want? Imagine that we want to place this house at the top of this hill. Okay, so I'm going to delete the first. I'm going to delete this, and then I want to place my house here at the top of the hill. Nice. But keep in mind that I have started my house at level 0. So if I place my elevation at 1210, that means that our house will be buried. So now we have to work, if level 0 is this 1330. Okay, I can do that. I can go to massing and site, topo surface, and by default I start on level 0. So this first ring is going to be on level 0, and then I can go -10 downwards, and the -10 downwards is the 320, and then I go 20 downwards, and this is the 1310. Okay, and so on and so forth. What if I'm lazy and I say, okay, I have to do this with how many lines are here? It can take me 20 minutes to do that. Okay, what if we move this? This is 0, -10, -20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay, so I'm going to type here -80, and I'm going to trace this line here. You see that pretty much we are doing the same thing we are tracing. what happens when our when we don't have enough, uh, so we have to make this up. I think this was looking better. Okay, we have to fix this. We will do that later because I'm not happy with this. And then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is, that would be negative 130. And then I can start doing this. Okay, so now I use the 3D view and I have my house at the top of the hill. Doesn't make any sense. Not really, because well, now what would I do? I would work with this building pad. I would try to select 1, 2, 3, and 4. I will trim 1, 2, 3, and 4. And how's that? Okay. So yes, now you see that at least I have a podium, I have a base for this. But well, it's gonna be hard to drive to this house and to place your car here. So apparently this option is not good. What would I do? Well, if we are doing something like that, and if we have this house here, we need to change the contour lines. Okay, so we have to edit the surface, and yeah, we need to create something that is more feasible, especially if we want to create like a road. It's not good yet. Okay, so at least here we have a platform, so we can drive our car. It's not going to be easy, but I think we have at least we have something flat here, and we can start creating that path here. And then how will a road look like in this area? We can create the, oh, I have to finish the surface. And now if I want to, well, I did it wrong because I have to create the platform where the cars are. Sorry. There you go. Finish. I look at the site. Yep. And now using the sub-region with a spline, I would create one of those nice roads. Okay. And now we'll create a offset. What is the right size for a car? Let's say 12 feet. I think it will be enough. And we can do this. Then I can close this point and this point. And if everything goes well, yep. Oh, by the way, if you lose your properties windows, you know that you can always go to view, user interface, and here you can click properties window again. And now this material, I think concrete work well. Great. There you go. Okay, so this is the house at the top of the hill. And then you have like this long and winding road. Well, it's very poetic. Okay, and finally, if we want to add some side components, then we can start adding, I don't like blueberries, so let's create something maple. Okay, so now it looks like a site plan. If what else can we do? We have created a building pad. We have created a sub-region with the road. We have created side components. What else do we have here? There are only trees, or there are, yeah, probably we can insert something if we had families with imperial site. So we have utilities, water connection, utility pole, gas connection. Well, this is too technical. We can use something about the parking. Not really. Logistics, waste container, one, and accessories, trash can, nothing. Is there anything other than site? We have more trees here. Hmm. Well, not really. Don't go crazy with all that stuff because it's not necessary. Trees go well because if you add trees to your site plan, it will look better. But I told you, do it at the end of the process because otherwise it will consume a lot of space in your computer and it will slow down this dramatically. Okay, do you have any questions so far about this? Oh. Mm, what do you have to do now? You have to create a topography, but it's up to you. I want you to create your own topography. So it's not that um, I'm not uploading a topography, but just have an idea. So this is the house at the top of the hill. It's crazy because, well, it's a crazy idea, but at least I have created a site plan out of this. So just try to make up a story for this house and try to place it in a, I don't know, in a topography that makes sense. Okay, so now it makes sense. Why not? Uh, but well, I'm sure that there must be other topographies. So I want you to explore different things or different topographies. And at the end, I want you to use the section box. And I want you to create like, yeah, something like this, limited by the section box. Uh, or okay, I can try something different. Imagine that we have this site plan and we want to create like a swimming pool. We do have a swimming pool here, you know, but imagine that we want a swimming pool here. So we can, what would I use? I would use the building pad to save the project. I'm going to use that building pad. And if I want a swimming pool, say here, mm, okay, what have I done? I have done this platform. But if I change the level, if now change this to the level or to an offset of -10, now I do have I don't have a platform. I have an empty space here. So can be like a swimming pool. Okay, so that's useful because you can create a podium if something is floating. So if you create this, you can create a podium so that you don't have a gap here between that slab and the soil. So you have this platform, that's fine. But if you go downwards, you can create an empty space and you can place like a swimming pool here or whatever. Can we do that? Because now we have a platform here. What happens if I try to create a swimming pool there? So let's find out. I will try to create a subregion. So I will create a subregion here. I click OK. So the site surface failed to triangulate. It happens the subregion be completely inside and overlap. Okay, so it overlaps. So we can't do this. In the event that we want to create the swimming pool there, I think the best thing would be to delete this. Okay, so this is what I have done. I have deleted the building path. And what can I do now? So I'm going to create a sub-region in the site plan. So if this is the swimming pool, I have to create two different sub-regions. So I will create a sub-region like this. Oh, sorry. I want to go from this point to this point here. And now that one. Okay, so I have created this one. And then I can go to site and I want to create another one. Oh, sorry. I'm creating sub-regions, and what I want to create is a building pad. Yeah. So yeah, so I want to create a building pad. The first one will be this one. The second one, another building pad. There you go. So I have two different building pads so that the house now is not floating because we have this building pad here. Okay. And finally, I will create another building pad going downwards where the swimming pool is. So I'm going to create another building pad. Now there's an overlap. Okay, now. And now I can offset this 10 feet down. And there you go. Okay, I have created this building pad here that is going downwards up to the earth level, and I have created this building pad that goes 10 feet below. Okay, so you have to, if you create two building paths, you have to avoid overlappings. So that's why I have created both. I have done this. So I have created the perimeter of this, and then I have created the other one. What if you need like a parapet for the swimming pool? Can we do that? Yeah, we can do that, but we're not going to do it now because it will be complicated. But that's it. Okay, so there are a lot of things we can do with topography. And I think if we add the contour lines and if we add all these elements, the pathways or the roads and trees, now the project is better. Okay, so without these things, yeah, we have a nice house, we can have nice screenshots, but now we have an idea of the project. So this is the house on the top of a hill. So that makes the house to be something special. It's not in the middle of nowhere or so. No, it's in this place, and now everything makes sense when we are using contour lines or we're using site plans. In these site plans, there's something useful. So here, if we click here, we have different site settings. Okay, so here we have the contour lines display at intervals of 10 feet. We can modify this. So if we make it 5 feet and apply, there will be more contour lines. Okay, when we have a flat area, we have to increase the number of lines. If we have that slopey area, having many contour lines, it can be confusing. But this is something that we can fix. Okay, so by these site settings, I can change here. If I select one and apply, you see that I have much more contour lines. This is up to us. I think it's beautiful. But I think if we have a slopey side like this one, I think 5 feet would be good for this interval. Okay. What else we have here in this site? Section graphics, earth, elevation. Multiple value, increment. We can control different things, but I think just by doing this, it would be enough. But I'm going to do, I click OK here. But what I meant is that if we are inside and we have a different site, so imagine that I'm using a topo surface and I'm starting at level 0. Something like that. Then I change this elevation to 1 feet, to 1 foot. And then I change this to say 5. And I extend all these. Okay, so this is something completely different. I have a huge, here I have a small extension and I have a difference, a level difference that it's a lot. But here I have an element that it's quite big, but the difference between the lowest and the highest point is 5 feet. Um, so then for this one, I would select model site. And here I think 5 feet is not enough. So here it will look better if we have a 1 foot interval. Well, I think that was actually a foot. What if the interval is even smaller, 6 inches? Okay, so here it might look nicer, but here this is, well, it's too much. Okay, half inch is too much. It's even confusing. So that's why we can't have two different sites on the same view, because what is good for this one is not good for that one, and the other way around. Okay? So we can control this, but in this case it's too much. But in this case it goes well. Mm, we can always simplify the surface. Yeah, sometimes it's useful, especially if we have a lot of, because the more points we have, the heavier the file is, especially here. So we select this and we edit the surface. Is it worth if we simplify this and we can control the accuracy? If we type 10. Yeah, so you can see that we have simplified the the surface a lot. If I undo changes, well, it will be different. Mm, edit, create from import. We can always, if you're working with SketchUp and you have created your topography with SketchUp, you can import this here, or from SketchUp or from DWG, from AutoCAD. Well, we are not doing this, so I think it's better if you start with Revit from scratch. That will be better.